Today we're going to be going over vocabulary for chapters 12 through 16 for To Kill a Mockingbird. As a reminder, you should have a pen or pencil, you should have your vocabulary chart, and you want to be writing down each vocabulary term, the part of speech for each word, as well as the definition that I provide for you on the screen. I also want to remind you to jot down some of the examples that I give or sketch out a quick picture. In addition to all of this, today, after you finish watching the video and taking notes, I want you to think about some antonyms and synonyms that you can use for each word. As a reminder, synonyms are words that mean the same. They should be the same part of speech. Antonyms are words that mean the opposite or have a different alternative meaning. Let's get started right away. I do want to remind you that as I go through this video, if I'm going too quickly for some of you, and I understand that I will be, go ahead and pause the video while you record down the definition. Our first word is the word altercation. Altercation is a noun. If we think about our knowledge of words, ION as a suffix usually will indicate to us that the word will be a noun. If we think about alter as a root, that means to have something that's other or change. Sometimes we think about change. That might not quite go with this definition entirely, but the noun altercation means a loud quarrel. And thinking that alter means other, I kind of like to think of the fact that you would have a different or another opinion, and because of those other opinions, you might have a loud quarrel or a loud argument or a loud difference. So that's kind of how I think of the word other playing into there. I think of altercation when I think about Richard Sherman from the Seattle Seahawks and Michael Crabtree from the 49ers. For those of you who are big fans, you probably have this image still in your mind from playoff season when Michael Crabtree and Richard Sherman got into an altercation. Sometimes there will be physical altercations, sometimes there will be verbal altercations, sometimes there's a mixture of physical and verbal altercations when people are getting into a loud argument or a loud quarrel, a loud fight. Our second word is the word melancholy. Melancholy is an adjective. When I think about melancholy, I know that this word has a negative connotation. Even just saying the word aloud, melancholy, it seems like a sad word. This is an adjective, so it is describing a person or a place or a thing. So the definition for melancholy is sad, depressed, thoughtful. When I think about this word thoughtful as it's used here, it's not thoughtful as in being considerate or being kind. It's thoughtful as in being deep in thought, almost going more introverted or reflective, but in kind of a way that's really intense, sometimes almost dark. So when I think about melancholy, I think about one of my very favorite artists, Vincent van Gogh. This is Vincent van Gogh's, one of his portraits of himself. And you even look in the expression on his face and the kind of scrunchiness of his brow and his forehead, that this is a melancholy person. He definitely was more depressed. Many of you may have heard the story of how Vincent van Gogh cut off his ear, and I am inferring here, but I think it would take a very melancholy or sad or depressed person to take that extreme action of cutting off their own ear. And today this is a little bit more of a modern example of somebody who you might say is melancholy. They're very just kind of deep in thought, maybe a little bit depressed. Our third word is the word denunciation. And this reminds me a lot of the verb to denounce something. And they're very similar in meanings. So denunciation ends with that ION suffix that indicates to me as a reader that this is going to be a noun. This is a thing. It's a public announcement of disapproval. I mentioned it reminded me of the word denounce. Denounce would be a verb. It would be an action. You're actually having the action of the announcement of disapproval. Denunciation is the thing. It's the announcement itself. So when I think of denunciation, wow, so many things come into my mind. It might be a political news show such as Fox News where they are making the denunciation against President Obama. It could be a group of protesters. This is a group of teachers and students in Los Angeles who are protesting against budget cuts in education. Or it could be, I love Calvin and Hobbes, Calvin saying, I don't want to go to school, I hate school. This would be Calvin's denunciation, his disapproval that he's making in public. Word number 4 is formidable. Formidable is an adjective. It is a descriptive word. It's describing a person, place, or thing. Typically, this is going to be probably a person that it's describing. Formidable has several different word parts in here. We see the A-B-A-L-E. A-B-L-E again is the suffix. That is an indicator to us that we could be having an adjective here. But more importantly, I see this root word form. And form is a root word that means to shape or to form something. And when I think about the definition of this adjective, very powerful or impressive, I think about someone or something who has a powerful form or they have a powerful impression. And sometimes I think of impression as being kind of a shape or a form. Typically, when I think of formidable, I will think of a formidable opponent. Some of you have maybe heard this team. This would be a powerful opponent, an equal, somebody that really gives you a run for your money. And so I think of the great boxer Muhammad Ali and his trilogy of fights against Joe Frazier. And Muhammad Ali was the greatest fighter of all time, and a lot of people thought he was unbeatable until Joe Frazier came along. So Joe Frazier was definitely Muhammad Ali's formidable opponent. But I also think about this poster, We Can Do It, Rosie the Riveter. She really became a cultural icon for women everywhere and girl power, that women were formidable, that women were strong and impressive. And this poster became popular during World War II when women needed to leave their households and go to the factories to take those factory jobs that had been left behind when their husbands went off to war in World War II. Our 5th word is the word prerogative, and if you notice, it has the 2 different word parts here. We see the prefix pre, which means before. We see the root rogue, which means to ask. So prerogative. Prerogative is a noun. It is a right that someone has, especially because of their importance or social position. And I almost like to think of prerogative as a natural right. A right that you have just because of who you are. Nobody's given you permission. So you haven't had to ask someone before. You just automatically have that right. You automatically have that permission because of who you are. So when I think of prerogative, gosh, guys, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do a quick little throwback here. I grew up in the 80s, and I went to so many school dances in which they had Bobby Brown, and this was a hit. It's embarrassing, but it was a hit. I know I'm aging myself, but guys, like I said, I can't tell you how many school dances I went to in middle school where they played My Prerogative by Bobby Brown. So whenever I hear the word prerogative, I have to think of good old Bobby Brown. As this word is used in the context of To Kill a Mockingbird, they actually say her royal prerogative. And what they really mean is that you feel like you have this innate or natural born right to do something. And sometimes you'll even hear of the phrase a woman's prerogative. A woman has the prerogative to change her mind. It's like your innate right, your innate ability to do something. Word number 6 is caste. Caste is a noun. It is a social class separated from others by distinctions of hereditary rank. Just as a reminder, hereditary is something that is passed down from a parent to their offspring, to their children. So we're talking about social class system, and the social class system is developed based off of who your parents were. And so when I think of a caste system, I naturally think of ancient Egypt. And you had people who were born into a system of slavery, of farming, of craftsmanship, of scribes, of nobility, and of course, the highest of all in the social caste system was the pharaoh. So, caste. Word number 7 is futility. Futility is a noun. It does remind me of the adjective futile, but when we're using the word futility, we are actually talking about an actual thing. The thing in this case is the thing of pointlessness or uselessness. So we're not saying it's pointless, we're not saying it's useless, we're actually talking about the thing, pointlessness, uselessness. And I know that that's getting into semantics, but it is differentiating the part of speech. So when we use the word futility, we're talking about a thing. When I was trying to find a picture to demonstrate futility, I came across this photograph online. This photograph is titled An Exercise in Futility. So thinking about pointlessness, uselessness, here's this woman who appears to be in the desert. It is desolate, it is dry, and there's this dead looking tree and she's watering it. And that would be an act of futility. That would be pointlessness. It would be uselessness. That tree is not going to grow and get green leaves and prosper. Number 8 is the word morbid. Morbid has the root word more, and if you remember from 7th grade, more means death. So we know that this is going to have something to do with death or darkness. Morbid is an adjective. It is describing a person, place, or thing. It means psychologically unhealthy, a strong, unhealthy interest in unpleasant subjects, especially death. So if somebody's saying that you're morbid or that something's morbid, they mean that it is unhealthy, that it is dealing with death. So it's not a compliment if they're saying that you're a morbid person. Some examples, I think of the great writer Edgar Allan Poe, wonderful writer, but very morbid, always talks about dark, really kind of unusual topics, very mysterious, but very disturbing as well. And I also think about the Addams Family. I mean, this was one of my favorite shows growing up as a child, and then it became the movie, and this is the poster that you see here. But the Addams Family would definitely be described as a morbid family. They are interested in very psychologically unusual things. Number 9 is the word elucidate. Elucidate is a verb. It means to make clear or plain, to clarify something. This is the actual action because it is a verb, so it's making something clear so somebody could understand it. Hopefully your teachers elucidate so that you can understand things. So you might say, like, my teacher elucidated how to add fractions. And finally, our last word, number 10, unobtrusive. We know it has the prefix un, which means not. This is an adjective, so it is a descriptive word. It will describe a person, place, or thing. It means not easily noticed, inconspicuous. You could think about an animal out in the wild who has camouflaging fur coats, maybe spots to help them blend in or not get easily noticed out in the wild. But I also like to think about the wild as in our lifestyle today. And I think about these celebrities who maybe want to be unobtrusive. They want to be inconspicuous. They don't want to be noticed. We sometimes would even call this incognito. They wear the dark sunglasses, the dark hat, something to help keep them covered so that the public and paparazzi won't notice them. Again, make sure you have all of your words down, and I will see you next time.